Good evening, one and all, and welcome to Sportsworks Sunday Night. I'm Woody Woodruff, and tonight on the show we'll react to the firing of Michigan State head coach Jonathan Smith and reflect on the Michigan Wolverines' Saturday loss to Ohio State. Plus, the road ahead for both the Pistons and the Red Wings, and roundtable hijinks and hilarity with Jeff Riger and John Niyo. But we begin with the Lions and the current state of affairs out in Allen Park. Detroit continuing this up again, down again scenario after the loss to Green Bay on Thanksgiving Day. But now the challenge is a Dallas Cowboys squad that has won 3 straight, including back-to-back victories against Philadelphia and Kansas City. Dak Prescott is returning to a high level. His receivers are making plays, and the Dallas defense has become much more sound. How does Detroit solve this puzzle on Thursday night? Jennifer Hammond has more from Allen Park.
Our margin for error is very small right now.
Dan Campbell isn't typically the type of guy who deals in definitives like must win. But even he can't deny the magnitude of Thursday's game against the Dallas Cowboys.
Of course, we got to find a way to win, and we want to win, you know. And I think I go back to this. I mean, we just lost one. We got to find a way to win this next one in front of us. And yeah, I mean, time's running out.
From the outside, some people are already counting out the Lions coming off that loss to Green Bay. But Campbell's been there before. In 2002, he played for a Giants team that lost back-to-back games heading into December before they won 4 straight to make the playoffs. The biggest key now, though, for his team is to make sure they understand the fine line between urgency and pressure.
We're at a point where it is, you know, there's some adversity for sure. And, you know, we call ourselves a gritty team. It's all over this building. It's what people say about us. But I think it's easy to be gritty when you're winning games and it's all sunshine and rainbows. But in these moments, you know, when you're coming off a bad loss to a divisional opponent on Thanksgiving, it's just obviously none of us want that result. How can we come together and still make this season worthy of being remembered?
The last 5 we'll all feel must win, and you know, you say that, but there's a lot of things that can happen, and of course you want to win every game, and we want to win this one. This one's very important, and certainly it's an NFC opponent, a team that's in the playoff hunt just like we are, and so yeah, it's a very important one, and we want to win.
That task looms large against a Cowboys team that's won 3 in a row and has revenge on its mind after losing to Detroit 47-9 last year in Week 6.
Playing with a lot of confidence, man. They've beefed up that defense. It's a really good D-line. Those guys are active. Eberflus has done a hell of a job. You know, he's a good defensive coordinator. We know him, obviously. It's a good team. It's a good team, man. This is a real good team playing at a high level, confident football. So it's be a good test for us, man. We're pretty fired up.
In Allen Park, Jennifer Hammond, Fox 2 Sports.
Thanks a lot, Hammer. That brings us to the round table where I'm joined by a couple of guys. I mean, I got a guy I know and a guy who's new. This is great.
Everybody knows Riger.
I don't think anybody wants to know.
John Niyo from the Detroit News, Jeff Riger from 97.1 The Ticket. Welcome to the round table, Jeff.
I'm a little intimidated, but thank you.
Don't be.
I get applause. Thank you.
Let's start with the comment that we heard Hutch made in Hammer's piece there. How can the Lions come together? What do you think they have to do now moving forward?
Well, I think the offensive line needs to be a heck of a lot better, Woody. I think the defensive line needs to be better. Hutch, by the way, right? He was speaking just there. He just got his worst pass grade in PFF. It was like 55. He's been non-existent the last couple games, so I think Hutch could be better as well. And by the way, it wasn't great today. Did you guys see what happened today?
Yeah.
San Francisco wins.
Seattle wins.
Nobody's helping the Lions.
Matthew Stafford helped Ben Johnson get the 1 seed.
You know what? I'm not looking for help right now, John. I guess
they
what we're
help
looking
themselves.
Exactly, helping themselves. And on the defensive end, that means creating pressure. They can't seem to make it with the front four or create it anywhere else. How are they going to keep moving forward?
No, look, with the injuries they've had on offense, we were talking about leaning more on that defense. Well, then that defense showed up on Thanksgiving and didn't touch Jordan Love, and that's not the recipe for this team, especially with the injuries they do have in the secondary still, to win. And so, yeah, those guys up front are going to have to win their matchups and get to Dak Prescott, which is easier said than done.
We talk about the front, but also in the secondary, you mentioned they need to tighten things up, but can they? Do they have enough back there right now, or are they still waiting?
Yeah, I mean, like we were just talking about this. Kirby Joseph, we're still waiting for him to come back, and all this injury news just gets worse and worse every day down there. You know, like Brock Wright might be out of the season. Kirby Joseph's never going to be healthy this season. Graham Glasgow's feeling better, but look, Frank Ragnow walks in the door and then walks right out the door, and then we'll get to that. But it's been just sort of a malaise here with all that news, and they're going to have to get themselves out of this. And look, they haven't lost but we keep saying this. They haven't lost back-to-back games.
They've come close,
but they keep getting closer and closer to it. One of these times it's going to happen.
We talked about the defense on this team, but we all know that it really starts with the offense on this team, and I think that maybe we're getting a little forced Jahmyr Gibbs action in a lot of these games. I mean, it seems that it's not coming in the flow of the game. They're just trying to push it that way. And, Jeff, that seems to be a recipe for disaster because everybody sees it and they know it's coming.
Yeah, the Packers traditionally shut Gibbs down as they did on Thanksgiving, right? And now you're looking at an offense. I don't think we're going to see St. Brown. Is that fair to say?
That is fair.
Sam Laporta's out. Brock Wright has it's a larynx, I believe. I don't even know how you get that injury. It sounds awful. So they're already limited on the offense. And now you look to yourself and say, okay, well, Montgomery and Gibbs are going to have to do their job, and this is going to have to be a J-Mo game. J-Mo was fantastic against Green Bay, and Tom Kennedy maybe comes back. But this offense obviously isn't as good as it was earlier in the season. But, guys, it's all about the offensive line. Is Tristan Colon going to be back at center? Is Graham Glasgow going to be back at center?
Right.
Can they protect? And all of a sudden you look at Dallas, and they can kill a couple quarterbacks.
Yeah,
so it's a scary proposition, and if the Lions lose, it's pretty much over. I mean, their margin for error is so razor thin.
And it seems that Dallas can also destroy some defensive lines as well. Dak Prescott playing at a high level right now with George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, and even in the run game, Javonte Williams and Malik Davis. Those guys have also come to play. John.
That's where the way that team was built here the last few years was that offense. But now they've added reinforcements on the defensive line. But this is a team that can put up points. The Lions are going to have to score more than they've scored here the last however many games to win this game Thursday night. It's home, crowd's going to be riled up. But this is, as Jennifer mentioned, this is a Cowboys team that's got punked last year in their own building by this team.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Dan Campbell might also want to change his aggressiveness. Yeah. I mean, he says he's going to try. I think Dan Campbell sees like a 4th and 2, and it's like this gorgeous steak that he just has to bite into. Like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And then he says, 4th and 3 from the 40.
I'm going to do it.
Punt?
I'm going to do
punt?
it.
What's the matter with you?
I wouldn't count on that happening.
All right, well, we will see what happens come Thursday night. Let's move to college football, where both Michigan and Michigan State are making news. For the Spartans, it's the firing of head coach Jonathan Smith. But for the Maize and Blue, it was the defeat at the hands of arch rival Ohio State. Let's jump into tonight's College Rewind.
That's 2, 2nd and 10 at the 25. Sayin again, near side, intercepted. Hill and Michigan with the first turnover of the game. Sayin winds up. Caught. Jeremiah. Touchdown. Motion man. Sayin underneath. Caught. Touchdown. Ennis. Sayin sprints out of the pocket. Looks backside. Down the field. Tate. Touchdown. Tater. Home run hitter. 50 yards.
I mean, it stings. Everybody stings. You sting for the seniors. You sting for the program. When you're in this 24/7, when you're in this for 365, this hurts. And you work tirelessly to make this, be successful. So, not just about me. It's really about the kids and all the hard work in. So, I'll put it on me. I always put stuff on me and self-reflect, self-look at, and see what we need to fix and see what we need to do. But it's got to be better.
Into the end zone, catches it, falling down. Are you serious, Jack Felling? Looking left, that little shoulder hitch, back shoulder into the end zone. It's caught. Punch, knots, touchdown. North Carolina. Alante Brown past the 30-yard line. Alante Brown trying to go the distance, and that's exactly what Brown does. What an answer by the Spartans. Lebojevic looking into the end zone. Touchdown, Spartans! Omari Kelly hauls it in.
So Michigan State gets that win to snap an 8-game slide, and with their season over, Michigan State also fired head coach Jonathan Smith. Smith came to East Lansing after taking Oregon State to 3 straight bowl games, the thought being that he would be the perfect bridge to get the Spartans to that next level. But this season, that bridge collapsed, and MSU made the move. And I'll be honest, this move was expected. Smith finishes his Spartans tenure with a record of 9-15 over 2 seasons. But the big sticking point, in my opinion, was that Smith wasn't able to generate a solid base to build on. Aiden Childs was his QB, and he didn't pan out this season. The squad never developed any kind of identity on offense, and the defense was suspect all season long. MSU Athletic Director Jay Batt making the announcement, but he may be making another one real soon because published reports are strongly suggesting that MSU will be moving towards Pat Fitzgerald as the new head football coach of the Spartans. The former Northwestern linebacker and head coach comes with a knowledge of the area as far as recruiting goes and compiled a winning record with the Wildcats. But there's also some baggage after a hazing incident that ended his tenure at the school back in 2023. Is Fitzgerald the right guy to step in and help change the culture of MSU football? Can he attract top talent? The Spartans seem to think so. We'll be on the lookout for the official announcement later this week, and that brings us back to the roundtable. Gentlemen, your reaction to the move by Michigan State. John, I'll start with you.
They needed some positive energy. That was obvious for weeks and weeks, maybe even longer than that. Jonathan Smith came in there. I think he's a good football coach. He's a good guy. But he didn't have the full backing when he showed up there. He certainly didn't have the financial backing he needed to get this thing rolling. And then he just didn't have the personality that was going to win people over, and he certainly didn't, especially as those losses mounted this year. So they're going to turn to a guy who knows this conference, knows this team, knows this rivalry too. You know, that's going to be a big part of this, I think, with him. But he's also a communicator who's going to be able to, I think, generate some positive energy.
Go ahead, Jeff, your reaction.
Yeah, so I think it's very polarizing. I look on the social medias like everybody does, and everybody either hates it or loves it. There's nobody in between. And there's some positives and negatives. You talk about getting fired for the scandal. Maybe it wasn't his fault. His last couple years, he was 4-20. Played in the Big Ten West. You need to win more in the Big Ten West. But I also think people wonder, can he deal with NIL? Can he deal with the transfer portal?
Exactly.
He did an interview saying when he was off, not working, he got a PhD in trying to win in this era. So we'll see if it works. I think the big thing is, can he deal with the transfer portal? Who are going to be his coordinators? And what does this team look like come January when he takes over?
And being out of football for the last 3 years, what kind of style will he bring here? I mean, you know, it's hard to say.
I mean, I think we know the style. It's going to be a style that actually probably looks a lot like Mark D'Antonio's style over the years, and really what Jonathan Smith was trying to do. But the other thing that we're going to hear this week is the donations. The donor class is all on board with this. They're going to. Jay Batt has been spending the last 6 months rounding, beating the bushes for new and different revenue streams. We're going to hear a lot about that when we hear the announcement that Pat Fitzgerald is the new head coach.
All right, what about the big deal with Michigan? They lose to Ohio State. I mean, they were trying for 5 in a row, and it was really unrealistic that they were going to get it against undefeated and #1 Ohio State.
Against Matt Patricia, no less.
Well, I mean,
certainly had his way. No, look, this is what we thought Michigan's season was going to look like back in August, right? 9-3, 8-4, something like that, with a freshman quarterback who looked like a freshman quarterback at times. He looked every bit like a freshman quarterback against that defense, against this team, but also with that game plan. And I think that's where, when Sharon Moore says it's on me, I'm going to put it on me. Well, yeah, it is on him. And there was some slippage in this program the last 2 years. That's evident all over the field. But there's also, they're going to have to do more and unleash Bryce Underwood, which is going to require coaching him up, but then also allowing him to be.
Jeff, are you surprised that hasn't happened already with Bryce Underwood? Because he came in highly touted like this, you would think that he would seamlessly just fall right into line.
Well, just because you make a lot of money, Woody, like yourself, doesn't mean you're going to be fantastic. I got a crazy stat about Bryce Underwood, right? He threw for 63 yards in that game against Ohio State. Go back a year before. Davis Warren threw for 62. Yeah. Davis Warren ran for 11 yards. Bryce ran for 1 yard. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. This was kind of a disaster of a season. Yeah. Michigan beat nobody good, and they lost to USC, they lost to Oklahoma, they lost to Ohio State. So I kind of feel the gimme years are over for Sharon Moore. Next year, if you don't get it done, I got to wonder if Sharon Moore is going to be at Michigan anymore. But that was a disaster of a game, and kudos to Ohio State and Matt Patricia.
That'll have to be the final word for right now. We'll toss to a break. We'll talk Pistons and Red Wings on the other side. You're plugged into Sportsworks Sunday Night. Welcome back to Sportsworks Sunday night at the roundtable with Jeff Riger and John Niyo. All right, guys, let's talk about the Pistons. Right now, the team 16-4, beat Miami last time out. They host Atlanta on Monday. Cade Cunningham over the last 5 games, gentlemen, the best NBA guard you have ever seen. And fight me on that. Dispute it. Go ahead.
No, I'm not going to fight you. Listen, I didn't like the Boston game. He had to make 3 free throws down the stretch to make it 14 in a row.
That game, though. Come on, man.
Listen, no, Cade's been outstanding. This team has been outstanding. Don't you get the feeling with this Piston team, and you guys can tell me, in the NBA, I don't know that every team gives effort every night. I think you see a lot of load management. The Pistons, every night, they smack you, and it usually results in wins. And I'm telling you, the landscape of the East with so many injuries to really good teams, whether it's the Celtics or Tyrese Halliburton with the Pacers, and the Pacers are absolutely dreadful. Don't you think the Pistons could be a special team this year?
I think so. I mean, I've been saying it for a while. They're easily top 3 in the East, and right now they're sitting atop the East. I know. Now, I know there's a lot of basketball to be played in the season. I get that, but still, the more you win now, the less you got to win later.
No, for sure. And look, I think they really would have liked and benefited from playing in that NBA Cup in Vegas and getting some more sort of playoff style games, and they lost a couple of those this last week, which hurts. But the more important thing is you're getting Jaden Ivey worked back in there now, and we're going to see some of those rotations start to make more sense and look a little more comfortable as this thing goes into December.
Jeff, how complete of a team is Detroit right now?
I think it's pretty complete, but I think it's weird because Trajan Langdon said before the season started, this is a figure-it-out year, right? We want to see who we got. We want to see, you mentioned Ivey, who's been good since he's come back.
Right.
I think Jalen Duren, does he deserve an extension? So it's weird because I think they went into this year thinking like, all right, whatever happens. We want to see what we got. We could do some serious damage. And to your question, I think they're really complete. And don't forget, the trade deadline eventually will come around, and maybe Trajan will be active. And who knows if a big splash move, something that Detroit doesn't see all that much of, is around the corner.
I think one of the best parts is they're winning in different ways. I mean, they're playing defense. They'll outscore you like we saw last night in Miami. I mean, 138 is a big number. But, I mean, when you can do it that way, I mean, you're really in the catbird seat as far as the opposition goes, because how are they going to stop you?
To your point, though, and look, they got off this hot start. Can they sustain it? How hard is it, to go at it the way they do every night? It does take a toll, and you also wonder, Cade Cunningham, he's up there top 10 in minutes played. Is that going to be too much come March, April, when you really want him to be at his best? So all those things I think we'll keep an eye on, but as guys get healthier, like Jaden Ivey get in the lineup more, I think that does help.
All right, as we mentioned, the Pistons will face Atlanta on Monday. Let's move to the Red Wings, guys. Winless in 4 straight. Yeah, we do. Winless in 4 straight, facing Boston in a home-and-home series, Game 2 on Tuesday. Seems like the same old problems, Jeff. I mean, inconsistent scoring, loose defense, goalie issues. Am I missing anything?
No, I don't think so at all. Like, I have a horrifying stat, okay?
He has come out with all of that.
Larkin, the fine captain of the Red Wings, he says, listen, we got to cut down on the giveaways, right? He said, they keep telling us what to do, and we're trying, but we don't know why we can't. They have 62 giveaways in the last 4 games.
That is an ugly
can't do
stat.
the average, but 62. And then you add the fact that Cam Talbot's fine for now as their number 1 netminder, and John Gibson's kind of been a disaster. And I know fans are chanting, Kosa, Kosa. Maybe we'll see him.
He's not ready.
But it unfortunately looks like more of the same after a hot start.
And that's the crazy part, because when you talked about John Gibson, he continues to struggle. They brought him in. I'm looking at the numbers here. 5 goals against Tampa Bay, 5 goals against the Islanders, 5 goals against Buffalo, 4 goals against Chicago.
At least he's consistent.
Come on now, consistently bad, because, let's be honest, Cam Talbot has bailed this team out moving forward to keep them somewhat in the standings. We've seen the points, everybody's starting to collect a lot of points here.
And that's a problem. You can't let somebody work things out, because the longer you wait, the further down those standings. I mean, they went from first in the East to like 10th in the East in a matter of 3 or 4 days this last week. That's the problem. They've got to get these points banked, and they haven't been lately.
I don't know what Todd McClellan is going to say, because it seems he has said everything so far.
He's got to ration those, and so I think we're probably due for another one here soon with another.
All right, that'll have to be the last word. Thanks a lot to Jeff Riger. Thanks a lot to John Niyo. John can be found in the Detroit News. Jeff, you can be heard on 97.1 The Ticket, and thank you for coming. We'll have more of Sportsworks Sunday night after this. NFL, the Vikings and Seahawks in Seattle, and this one was all Seahawks. Max Brosmer got the start for Minnesota, and he was a tasty appetizer for the Seattle defense. Second quarter, 3-0 Seahawks. Brosmer on 4th and 1 rolls out and throws it right to Ernest Jones, who returns it 85 yards for the pick six. 10-0 Seattle. The Seahawks collecting 5 turnovers against Minnesota in a 26-0 drought. Maybe it wasn't J.J. McCarthy, or maybe it was. Minnesota is 4-8 this season. Time now for the NFL play of the day, and for that slice of excellence, we go to the Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, home of the Carolina Panthers, where the L.A. Rams were battling hard and driving for the lead.
Stafford floats it. Nakua's the target. Oh! Puka Nakua! Absolutely ridiculous. To set up first down.
Oh my goodness, what a grab by Puka Nakua. That dramatic leaping catch was good for 30 yards and set up a Kyron Williams TD run on the next play to give the Rams the lead. Now the Panthers squeezed out the 31-28 win, but that catch by LA's Puka Nakua was a shoo-in for our NFL play of the day. And that brings the fun to a close. I'm Woody Woodruff. Thanks for tuning in. TMZ Weekend is next right here on Fox 2.